In the next 2 minutes, you'll discover a secret that will change everything you know about manifestation. This secret starts from the medieval crusades to some disturbing experiments conducted by the CIA. So take a deep breath, settle in, and get ready for this documentary. One that reveals century-old findings that can redefine your future. Recently, an old manuscript was found in a church in Jerusalem. It reveals a miracle prayer that can bring abundance into your life. But before I reveal it to you, I want you to forget everything you've heard about manifestation, because this isn't about the law of attraction, boring visualization, or binaural beat. This sacred prayer has let thousands of men and women around the globe experience a consistent, divine flow of abundance. You don't need to be religious. Whether you're Christian, Muslim, Jewish, Hindu, or Buddhist, it can work for you. Now I want you to write this down. Real, effective manifestation can only come from God, the creator of all things. No meditation, affirmation, or ritual is more powerful than God. Unfortunately, you won't find this prayer online, in movies, or on YouTube. It isn't even in modern Bible translations. It may sound unbelievable, but after a lot of skepticism, I found this prayer worked for me in ways I never expected. Now I'm living my dream life, but let me take you back to where this all began. From my struggle with financial difficulties, the edge of a divorce that nearly tore my family apart, and a mother who is battling leukemia, to successfully manifesting wealth, health, and abundance. My name is Chris Marshall. A few years ago, I had one of the worst days of my life. I was working as a tour guide, heading to Jerusalem to lead a group through the historical landmarks of the city. Just as I arrived at the airport, my phone buzzed with a message from my wife. We were going through some rough patches. As I read her text, I felt angry and overwhelmed with hopelessness. The bank decided to take back the apartment because I couldn't afford the payments. She told me that she and our son had moved in with her parents. Then came the blow that nearly knocked the air out of my lungs. Her parents had decided to take custody of our son. They believed they could give him a better life, more stability and love than I ever could. I felt utterly powerless, like I had failed at the one thing I was supposed to protect, my family. There was this deep shame that came over me, a humiliation so raw it cut to the bone. How did it come to this? My own son taken from me because I couldn't get my life together. Before I could even process what I just read, my phone rang again. This time, it was from my mother. She told me her insurance refused to cover her leukemia treatments anymore, which is about $38,000. I was barely holding it together myself. I hadn't slept properly in weeks, wasn't eating well, and felt completely drained. So I lied. I told her I would take care of everything, that it was going to be fine, but I had no idea how. On the long flight to Jerusalem, I couldn't get any rest. I was sick with worry about everything. My son, the apartment, my mom. But little did I know that things were about to take a dramatic turn. After checking into my hotel, I grabbed a taxi to the church where I was supposed to meet Father Thomas. He was the priest I'd be working with over the next few days. Father Thomas seemed like any other humble priest, but there was something different about him. It felt like he could see right through me, as if he knew exactly what I was going through without a word. Before he led me inside the church, he paused and said something I wasn't expecting. Something strange. "Before you head into the church, I need to do something for you," Father Thomas said calmly. "I can sense a lot of negativity around you. It's like you've got a storm cloud hanging over your head." His gentle tone immediately made me feel at ease. Though I wasn't particularly religious, I was willing to try anything that might help. He asked me to close my eyes and listen. Suddenly, I felt my soul was transported into a different place. A serene lakeside with smooth water reflecting the sky, soft rustling of leaves, and the distant sound of gentle waves. It was so calming, like all my stress and worries just melted away. It felt like the heavy burden I was carrying had been lifted. When I opened my eyes, Father Thomas didn't say much. He just told me to follow him inside and started showing me around the church. I was itching to ask him about that strange prayer, but I didn't want to interrupt. After the tour, I went back to my hotel, and for the first time in weeks, I slept deeply. The next morning, I felt like a new person. I was so curious about the prayer that he said yesterday. I rushed back to the church. This time, I let everything spill out. How my family struggled, how my mother is constantly going through the leukemia treatment, and how I worked tirelessly just to get by. I told him about my fears, like the divorce and the constant worry about losing my son. Father Thomas listened carefully and, after a moment of quiet, began to speak. "You've made many sacrifices in your life," Father Thomas said softly. "As the old saying goes, even in the darkest times, there is a light to be found." He paused, thinking if he should continue, and I was relieved when he chose to speak. "What I'm about to share is something I've never revealed publicly. You might be skeptical, but I need you to listen carefully. Do you understand?" I nodded, and Father Thomas began. One of the most remarkable Christian leaders was King Richard the Lionheart. Despite battling illness and facing immense adversity, Richard achieved remarkable victories and left a legacy that has endured through the centuries. He is remembered as one of the most important Christian commanders. But how did someone with so many challenges manifest such success? The answer lies in this very church. Richard the Lionheart often prayed here, and recently we discovered an ancient manuscript hidden within these walls. This prayer would bless your soul, no matter how much negativity it might carry. In just 7 days, this miracle prayer would attract divine blessings directly from God. This is how King Richard the Lionheart was able to access such extraordinary power and wisdom. At first, we didn't quite believe a word of this manuscript, but we decided to give it a shot. We started by sharing the miracle prayer with a small local business that had been struggling to stay afloat. The owner, who was facing financial ruin, used the prayer as instructed. To everyone's astonishment, just a week later, the business received an unexpected contract worth $25,000 from a major client. This contract not only saved the business, but also allowed it to expand its operations. We were initially still skeptical, but we suspected we were onto something here and decided to try it out again. We then shared this miracle prayer to a retired couple who had recently moved into a smaller home due to financial constraints. And it turned out the house had numerous issues that required costly repairs. After they began using the miracle prayer every day, they were unexpectedly gifted with $10,000 from a distant relative they hadn't been in touch with for years. This blessing covered all the repairs and even allowed them to renovate their home. We were curious about how this miracle prayer worked and decided to do more research on manifestation. And before I share this with you, I must warn you, this will make you question everything you know about manifestation, religion, science, and modern technology. You see, manifesting was common in ancient times. The miracles performed by holy saints were achieved by people just like you and me. So why does it seem impossible to manifest miracles today? The answer lies in how our connection with the divine has been obstructed. Modern technology, including the frequencies from our favorite songs, TV shows, and phones, plays a significant role in this disruption. Now, you might be wondering why our everyday devices have negative frequencies built into them. To understand this, I need to take you back to a crucial moment in history. During the Cold War in 1947, an underground group known as the Secret Intelligence Bureau, SIB, launched a secret project known as MK Ultra. This project focused on mind control and psychological manipulation using brain frequencies alteration. The goal was to control, manipulate, and defeat the Soviet Union and their respective allies by broadcasting those harmful brain frequencies. It was very sinister. That's why the United States won the Cold War and was regarded as the world's sole superpower. The situation grew even worse when these frequencies, instead of just influencing behavior, began to seriously disrupt people's spiritual connections to God, destroying the very essence of human spirituality, leading to human and God separation. This evil, dark project was mostly forgotten by the public until the beginning of the 21st century, when another secret project known as Project Bluebeam caught wind of the mind control and manipulation experiment. Project Bluebeam pushed this even further by using brain frequencies alteration to control people's behavior. Imagine a situation where even the kindest, most trustworthy people could be led to act against their nature. Picture someone you know well, like your neighbor, suddenly doing things that seem completely out of character. It's frightening to think that people might be unknowingly manipulated, making them do things they wouldn't normally do, all because of hidden influences they're not aware of. Project Bluebeam made further discoveries that those brain frequencies alteration can affect the pineal gland, a small part of your brain linked to creativity and spirituality. The famous Greek philosopher and physician Galen described the pineal gland as the seat of the soul. a gateway to higher realms of existence and a bridge that connects you and God. Project Bluebeam's goal was clear: to disable your pineal gland and turn you into an obedient creature. And based on what we're observing in the world today, they're successful. Most people are drawn to somewhere like flies to a light, trapped in somewhere that's not very happy, not exciting, not fully alive. You can't put your finger on exactly why, but it's been slowly eating away at you for a long time. Little by little, you felt less and less in control of your life. It's as if you've been led by a foreign force away from your potential and made to feel meek and insignificant. This is where the miracle prayer comes in. The miracle prayer cleanses and purifies your soul from the harmful programming. That's why you've not truly seen manifestation work in your life. From the moment you were born, society has been molding you to believe that struggle and scarcity are your fate. It's all part of the system. You're conditioned to fit in, to follow the rules, to play your part like a piece in a giant puzzle. As a child, your mind soaked all this in, and by the time you grew up, those beliefs were locked deep inside, almost impossible to shake. That's why the miracle prayer is so powerful. It clears away years of harmful conditioning and reconnects your soul with God, allowing His blessings to flow freely again. We were excited when we realized what this prayer could do. For instance, a single mother I knew had been struggling to make ends meet, barely able to pay her rent. After using the miracle prayer daily, she received an unexpected offer for a better job, one that paid more and allowed her to work from home. Her whole life turned around almost overnight. We started to see that this prayer could be the key to breaking the chains that have held so many people back for so long. But what happened next completely destroyed my faith in the church. We traveled to one of the largest evangelical organizations in Jerusalem, thinking they would help spread the miracle prayer. Instead, they shut us down immediately. They told us this prayer couldn't be shared publicly and had to be kept under tight control. We couldn't believe it. For days, we begged them to reconsider, pointing out how many lives could be changed for the better. They just ignored us. It was clear they only wanted this prayer for the high-ranking church officials, not for ordinary people. And a few days later, one of the church leaders was seen in the news purchasing a luxury mansion, claiming it was for spiritual retreats. The hypocrisy was glaring. That was the end of Father Thomas's story, and I sat there speechless. Father Thomas then looked at me and said, "Chris, I believe you're meant to do something with this. The influential churches in Jerusalem might be watching me, but not you. You can still do something about it. You have the voice to share this with the world. Try the miracle prayer yourself. See what it does for you. Then if you're fully convinced, help others discover the same blessings." I was about to leave, thinking the whole thing was pointless. But something about Father Thomas and his story just kept me sitting there. He calmly reached for a notepad, wrote something down, and handed it to me. "This is the miracle prayer," he said. "Try it out for the next 5 days while you're here in Jerusalem." I nodded, not really sure if I believed him, but I agreed anyway. Over the next 5 days, I tried the prayer just like he said. I repeated it over and over, but nothing happened. No miracles, no changes. I started thinking this was all a waste of time. Was I doing something wrong? By the 7th day, I was ready to leave. I boarded my flight home, leaving Father Thomas and the old church behind. I was ready to give up. As I sat there on the plane, I was tired and frustrated. I started dozing off, barely able to keep my eyes open. Then I had the strangest dream, nothing vivid or mystical, but oddly comforting. I was walking down a path that seemed familiar, surrounded by light, and I felt this deep sense of peace, as if everything was finally going to be okay. When I woke up, I noticed a message on my phone. My brother, who I hadn't spoken to in years, had sent me a text. He told me that out of the blue, he'd come into a sum of $38,000 from an investment that had been sitting idle for years, money he never even expected to see. Without hesitation, he said he wanted to help pay for Mom's leukemia treatments. I couldn't believe what I was reading. It was like something out of a movie. At that moment, I remembered the miracle prayer. Was this a coincidence, or was it because of the miracle prayer? I hadn't given it much credit before, but now I couldn't ignore the timing. I decided to keep going, praying with more intention than ever before. And after just 5 days, a true miracle happened. It seemed like pure chance, but it changed everything for me. I ran into an old friend, Danny, while planning the next travel itinerary as a tour guide at a coffee shop. He spotted me and exclaimed, "Chris, is that you?" I barely recognized him. He had slimmed down considerably, but his familiar freckles gave him away. Years ago, Danny had gone through a painful breakup. I was there for him, offering support and distraction. We spent countless evenings hanging out, helping him move on. Eventually, he left for Stanford University to further his studies. We caught up over coffee. I talked about my recent travels meeting Father Thomas and the amazing luck that washed over my mother. Then I shared the bad news and told him about my wife had moved in with her parents, and they were fighting for full custody of our son. They believed they could provide him with a more stable environment than I could. Danny listened and smiled after that. I was taken aback at first, but he quickly calmed me down. "Don't worry, Chris. I wasn't laughing at you. Let me tell you what I've been up to, and it might brighten your day." Danny then told me he'd excelled in his finance studies and graduated at the top of his class. He'd studied at Stanford, where he made connections with some of the most influential people in their families. Because of that, he had access to exclusive investment opportunities, usually reserved for the wealthy and powerful. Danny then offered to help me out. He proposed fronting the initial capital for the investment and putting the shares under my name. The deal was simple. When the returns came in, I would repay him the capital he'd advanced, and I'd keep all the profits. At first, I hesitated. I didn't want to take advantage of his generosity, and I was concerned about not being able to compensate him for his time and expertise. But Danny just shook his head and said, "Don't worry about paying me. Remember when you were there for me during my breakup and kept me company? This is my way of giving back. Consider it a favor from one friend to another. You're a good and honest man." His words were deeply touching, and I felt a wave of relief and gratitude. Fast forward 4 months, and the investment Danny helped me with turned out to be nothing short of a miracle. The returns were beyond what I could hope for, $110,000 in total. With that money, I was finally able to breathe easy. I paid off the $50,000 in overdue mortgage payments for our apartment and wiped out the $20,000 in credit card debt that had been hanging over me like a dark cloud. The most profound change was seeing the relief in my in-laws' eyes when they realized I could provide a stable home for my son. Their trust in me, once shaken, was restored. I could see the warmth in their faces again, and it was like a heavy weight had been lifted from my shoulders. Knowing they felt comfortable letting me take care of my son again filled me with an overwhelming sense of accomplishment and gratitude. Reconnecting with my wife was another beautiful outcome. Watching her look at me with renewed love and trust was like a balm to my soul. Her eyes, which had once been filled with doubt and worry, now sparkled with hope and affection. It was a reminder of how far we'd come and how much we'd weathered together. The depth of her love and the trust she placed in me once more made me realize the strength of our bond. Seeing my mother recover from leukemia was indescribable. The treatment she went through was a success, and all the way before, during, and after it, I used the miracle prayer to have God protect her. Besides that, my career took a huge turn for the better. After starting to use the miracle prayer, I went from being a tour guide to diving full-time into investing. It felt like stepping into a whole new world. In just 1 year, I made more money through investing than I had ever made in my entire tour guide career. The transformation was nothing short of divine, and I discovered a renewed sense of purpose and fulfillment. God guided me toward this new path, revealing opportunities that I hadn't even dreamed possible. I also felt a strong urge to give back and honor Father Thomas's teachings by sharing the miracle prayer with people close to me. One person I reached out to was Rachel, a freelance graphic designer who had always struggled with money. Rachel came from a family where poverty seemed almost like a given, and I wanted to offer her a bit of hope. Here's something I hadn't mentioned yet. A dysfunctional pineal gland can be passed down through generations, making it tough to break the cycle of poverty. The struggles of previous generations can impact not just your own life, but also affect your children and grandchildren. I realized how important it was to make a difference, not only for myself, but for those I care about. So I shared the miracle prayer with Rachel. After just a week, I checked in on her and was amazed at the change. She'd managed to land several high-profile clients and double her income. Rachel had been in a rut, feeling like she was doing everything wrong, but suddenly her creativity flowed effortlessly, and her project started getting rave reviews. Week after week, her business continued to grow, and within just 6 months, she had transitioned from barely scraping by to running a small but successful online graphic design agency. Rachel became the pride of the family, the first one to break the curse of poverty. I also shared the miracle prayer with my friend Lydia, who had been tirelessly trying to start her own organic farm. Lydia faced countless setbacks, failed crops, mounting debts, and a sense of overwhelming frustration. She tried everything from working harder to trying the law of attraction. But no matter what she did, nothing worked. Lydia couldn't even grow something to sell. I know why, but she didn't. All this changed. Once I gave her the miracle prayer, Lydia cleansed her pineal gland and broke open the floodgates of heaven. The once barren fields started to flourish, producing a bountiful harvest beyond her wildest expectations. She secured a partnership with a renowned organic food chain, and her farm quickly became the go-to supplier for fresh, local produce. She felt as though she had truly touched heaven with nothing but the miracle prayer. Seeing how the miracle prayer changed my friends' and family's lives, I felt deep down that this was my mission. Little by little, I started sharing the miracle prayer with others, and soon I was getting a flood of messages, emails, texts, and calls from people telling me how it transformed their lives. They talked about how their pineal gland restored, a stronger connection with God, and their dreams coming true. But I still felt like there was more to do. I never forgot what Father Thomas had shared with me, and that's what got me to where I was. I vowed to put the miracle prayer in the hands of as many people as I can. So I quit my cozy job as a travel tour guide and moved my entire family to Malaysia. Why Malaysia? I'll explain that in just a second. But first, let me tell you how it works. I've put together a complete guide called the Miracle Prayer Code. It's a powerful ritual that cleanses your pineal gland, connects you to God, and taps into the divine flow of abundance. Now pay close attention because over the next few minutes, I will show you exactly how to use the miracle prayer to manifest anything you want into your life. It's really simple. You don't even have to sit for hours in meditation. You don't have to spend hours visualizing or creating nice vision boards with nice pictures or overworking yourself to achieve your dreams. Simply recite the miracle prayer daily for at least 7 days. The more consistently you use it, the more powerful the results will be. The manuscript recommends doing this for at least 37 days. We didn't know why at first. After we did some research, we found that 37 has a fascinating and unique significance. Studies have shown that it takes around 37 days for your brain to adjust to new experiences, leading to noticeable changes in your life. And there's a spiritual touch too. In Psalm 37, King David said, "Take delight in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart." This is probably one of the most important manifestation secrets of all. But there's more. My team and I started doing more research on making the miracle prayer even more powerful, and we discovered a special set of numbers in the miracle prayer manuscript that Father Thomas gave me. It turns out that's a crucial secret to the entire miracle prayer. I now call it the 7-minute miracle prayer frequency, a special sound frequency that will heighten your intuitive powers and connect with God at a deeper level. In the Bible, it's mentioned that when we have heightened intuitive powers, we may understand what God has freely given us. What this means is that by using this frequency, you open yourself up to fully understand the divine gifts and blessings God has already set aside for you, enabling you to receive miracles and manifest your desires more effortlessly. But that's not all. We also created the 30-day to divine connection so you can feel more fulfilled spiritually and see heavenly gifts flow into your life. It's designed to help you strengthen your bond with God, elevate your spiritual practice, and unlock the heavenly gifts that are waiting for you. It's a proven step-by-step journey that will bring you closer to God, awaken your spiritual awareness, and align your life with divine abundance. Then you'll also receive the angelic affirmation cards. With each affirmation, it's like the angels are pointing you in the right direction, helping you sidestep pitfalls and obstacles, and leading you toward opportunities that will shower you with heavenly blessings and divine abundance beyond your imagination. These cards are your daily reminder that God's love and angelic guidance are always at work, ensuring you are aligned with your highest good. Now, I'm sure you're just as excited about this as I am, and you would like to experience these incredible blessings for yourself immediately. So I have one final question for you. Are you ready? Are you ready to experience a divine transformation in your life? Are you open to receiving the blessings and gifts that God has waiting for you? And are you ready to break free from the chains that have held you back for so long? Don't make the mistake of staying stuck where you are, struggling, waiting for a miracle while life slips by. Thousands of people around the world have already experienced the power of the miracle prayer, and now it's your turn. So let me show you exactly how you can get your hands on this powerful material. As I mentioned earlier, I took a huge leap of faith and left behind my comfortable travel tour guide job. Why? Because I knew I had a greater calling. I felt a deep conviction to carry out the mission that Father Thomas passed on to me, a mission that means more to me than any paycheck ever could. The miracle prayer changed my entire life, and I'm committed to sharing that gift with as many people as possible. That's why I started this website, to help others access the same divine power that transformed everything for me. I've been waiting for the perfect moment to share this with the world, and if you're watching this right now, it means that moment has finally come. But before I go any further, I need to give you a heads up. The powerful authorities in Jerusalem have been trying to keep this a secret. Why? Because the more people who discover this miracle prayer, the less wealth they'll have. I'll be real with you though. I am a little scared. What if I disappear? What if this site gets taken down and all of Father Thomas's work just vanishes overnight? It might sound paranoid, but check out this video. It's security footage of some shady figures who showed up at my house back in the US. This all started happening once I quietly began sharing the miracle prayer. They found my house. I knew they were closing in on me, so I did what I had to do. I left the country. I moved my family to Malaysia, far away from the reach of the corrupted church authorities. I'm not going to lie, I'm still scared. But I pushed through it because God is giving me the strength to share this message with you. And just so you know, I'm not doing this for money. This whole thing is way too risky for that. If I wanted to, I could easily sell the miracle prayer manuscript for a fortune, like private deals behind closed doors with wealthy collectors. I mean, can you imagine? Tens of millions of dollars for this manuscript, easy. Heck, I could sell it for $10,000 on the dark web tomorrow. But that's not what this is about. You're not going to pay anything close to that. Not $10,000, not $5,000, not even $2,000. Even though some so-called manifestation gurus are out there selling courses that don't even work for those crazy prices, I'm not here to drain your bank account. This is about something far more important than money. You won't even pay $200. I'm not here to make a profit off this. All I'm asking for is a small contribution to help us keep our company running. We need to cover the costs of maintaining this website and supporting the team that's dedicated to spreading the miracle prayer every day, despite the risks. So, we're asking for just $97. That's it. But since you've been with me this far, I can tell you're serious about transforming your life. That's why I've gone back to my team and pushed for an even better deal. They were hesitant and said it was already too low, but I insisted. I thought about all the hard-working people out there, single parents, those struggling to make ends meet, people like me who once couldn't even afford $97 or a warm meal for my son. So here's the offer. You can get everything: the miracle prayer, the 7-minute miracle prayer frequency, the 30-day to divine connection, and the angelic affirmation cards for just $37. That's a $60 discount off the original price. All I ask in return is that once you start seeing the incredible results from these materials, you share your experience with your family, friends, and community. If everyone spreads the word, we can create a ripple effect of positive change. Even if the corrupted church authorities try to silence me, this message will live on through you and countless others who carry it forward. To grab this offer, simply click the button below. You'll be directed to a secure checkout page designed with secured encryption to keep your information safe. We've invested heavily in this technology to ensure your privacy, using the same trusted software that major companies like Google and Apple use. Once you complete your order, you'll get instant access to the miracle prayer, the 7-minute miracle prayer frequency, the 30-day to divine connection, and the angelic affirmation cards. No waiting, no extra fees for shipping, just immediate access. We'll send you clear instructions and your personal invitation link so you can dive right in and start transforming your life today. And here's my sacred promise to you. Even with this incredibly low price, you have nothing to lose. If for any reason you're not completely satisfied, whether you're unhappy with the results, just click the refund button in your members area. We'll refund every penny, no questions asked. Your satisfaction is our top priority, which means when you click the Add to Cart button to place your order today, you're basically just saying maybe to the Miracle Prayer Code, and you have an entire year to experience what life can be like once you've used the Miracle Prayer. I've decided to shoulder all the risks here so I can help as many people as possible while this web page is still up, which probably won't be long, thanks to the angry folks in the corrupted church in Jerusalem. So click the Add to Cart button below and place your order with zero risk to you. The way I see it, you're now at a crossroads and you have a choice to make. Option 1, you can ignore everything you've read today and continue living life the way you have been. Continue working harder to maintain your job, fighting for promotions and pay raises just to cover your living expenses and make ends meet. Life will be a constant battle just to survive. But the worst of it all, what if you pass on an ineffective, inactivated, underdeveloped pineal gland to your children, causing them to not be able to enjoy the riches of heaven, putting them in a cycle of worrisome bills and debts, constantly running the financial hamster wheel, all because you didn't fix it when you had the chance with the solution right in front of you. Or option 2, you can say maybe to the Miracle Prayer Code. You'll start to fling wide the heavenly gates and swim in an ocean of heavenly blessings, manifesting the wealth that you rightfully deserve. I really can't think of an easier and more straightforward way to manifest an abundant life than tapping into the power of the miracle prayer. The choice is yours. Will you let this sacred opportunity pass by, or will you embrace the miraculous blessings of the miracle prayer? Click the button below to claim this heavenly gift while it's still available. In just 7 days, you could find yourself a week older, or you could be stepping into a life filled with miraculous abundance and divine fulfillment. So click the Add to Cart button below and place your order with zero risk to you. This is Chris Marshall. I'll see you at the members area.